Ja, hallo miteinander, grüezi und herzlich willkommen zum heutigen Bluewin Video Talk. Heute hier bei uns ist der Paolo Nutini. Welcome, Paolo. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Thank you for, thanks for your time, man.
Welcome to Switzerland. Have you ever been here before?
Yes, many a time. I think this must be my over 10th trip to Switzerland now.
Okay, so you're quite familiar with Switzerland.
Yeah, well, I always used to come through because when I was a child, my father would like to drive to Tuscany from Glasgow, so we'd drive the whole way. So we'd pass through like bits of parts of France. We'd go through Switzerland. Stopping he'd stop in like Chablis and go to the caves, and we'd work our way up. And we'd say that I was always kind of fascinated by the composition of the mountainside and all the kind of vegetation that grows around it.
Does it remind you of Scotland a little bit?
It reminds me of parts of Scotland. It reminds me also of Tuscany, where I'm from. It really is a familiar. I think that's why I like it so much. It's very familiar. It's like no matter where we've been. We went up. We went and did the show on the mountains in the Gurtenfest. We've been here. We've been to Montreux. 4 or 5 times. That's an honour, man, to keep getting. Claude Nobbs. He's a gentleman, an absolute gentleman, and I've got all the time in the world for the man, and it's really good to be able to speak to somebody like that, because it's one of the old school still around, man. One of the old heads that are still, no matter what age he is, he's 21. It's like he's a fresh guy approaching it, but yet he's got that old school mentality. He's seen a lot of shit,
That's actually almost like the inverse of you. You are a young person, 22 years old, but in your head you're old school a little bit. You like all those old school stars, the real quality musicians from the old times.
I don't see why it's like I hope I'm not weird for that. I mean, fuck, if people aren't listening to this music, where music came from, then what chance have we got? If you're confining yourself to the charts and all you're listening to is Lady Gaga and fucking Black Eyed Peas,
So you're a quality person. You like quality.
I'm not saying that. I'm not knocking those guys. They're doing their thing. I'm just saying that you can't always just it's too easy just to listen to what's put in front of your face. Nobody does. You don't. Everybody delves back. It just depends on how far and how much you do it. Going back, I love to go back to 20s, 19, on the, just 1919, 1920s, and you get a sense of where a lot of stuff came from. And it seems like nobody does that then, but they were doing some pretty radical and things that are still being perceived as new, were happening then and are just now being regurgitated, because it's all a bit of a regurgitation,
It's sustainable, isn't it?
Yeah, but that's it. It lives on. It should inspire, and people, I think you've got a little, I think, writing songs is a little bit like being like having little antennae, and then something you hear something, you put it in there, you pick it up, or a little idea comes along, based on what you've heard, and when the idea comes, you better catch it. You do something, you pass it on, people hear it. I think that's the main thing. When the idea comes, just catch it and don't go, I'll remember that in the morning, because I never do, man. And I've not got a dictaphone just now. Well, thank God I've not got my dictaphone. Kidding. But I don't actually have a dictaphone.
You could use your iPhone for doing that.
Well, no, apparently I have to download an application to do it, man. So I'll get that downloaded but I'm happy just now with the iPhone. They're cool things, right?
Sure.
Have you got one of these?
No, not yet.
But it's cool because
I'll wait until it has a better camera.
But cameras are one thing, but does any other phone have a lightsaber?
No, probably not. No, definitely. It's a fascinating little tool. So you're into tech gadgets? Do you like tech gadgets?
No, I not really. I just like, I like that iPhone because it was made phones fun. I hate phones.
Before you did
I figure if I'm going to give myself a brain tumour, I might as well play with a lightsaber while I do it. Why not?
Let's go back to your beginnings to Scotland. I read in your biography that your parents own a snack bar or something like that?
A fish and chip shop.
Fish and chip shop?
Slash cafe.
Okay, and you were supposed to take it over, and then you decided to become a musician. What did your parents say when you told them, I don't want to take over this fish and chip shop, I want to be a musician?
I remember that day, man. I went in, I was like, I'm not going to work in the chip shop. My dad has like 4 or 5 rifles. He chased me, for about 3 hours, trying to shoot me. Got me once, I fell. I'm kidding on. No, he I was never supposed to. The shop has been there for 116 years almost, man. It's an old family business. 3 generations. So I suppose in a way, the history books dictate that I was supposed to go in. But my father never gave me the impression that that's what he wanted me to do. And I'll be honest with you, I worked in a very small capacity there for a little while. And it gave me, at times, at the time, at the age I was, it helped me respect, my father for who he was, outside of being just my dad, because he's he went in when he was 16 years old. He's now in his mid-50s, early 50s. He still goes every day, every morning, 5 in the morning, comes home, 8 at night, every day, apart from a Sunday, because they close.
So it gave you respect for hard work?
Well, if you can imagine the 2 friars, there's a friar, and there's in front of it is a mirror. And it's been the exact same mirror that's been there his whole life. So every day he's walked in and looked in the mirror from 16 to 52. And he's the only reason he did, because he doesn't enjoy it. Nobody would enjoy it. It's not fun.
Does he still work there, or did you buy him like a new house, a new car, and...
Well, I think that's the thing. I've got to make that kind of money before I can spend that kind of money. I had that money, and then the tax man came and went...
That's what happens.
Took the whole lot of it. Now the government have it. They're decorating their houses with it.
But is this like some sort of a dream of you to buy your father a yacht or a house so he can retire from work?
Of course, yeah, but he doesn't... But I can't, if I tried to get my father out, my dad works, what he does, that's his generation, his mentality, is to work and to earn and to get through the day, and it settles him. I can't... When he's ready to go, man, I'll make sure, if I can, if I can afford the luxuries, then yeah, he'll be seeing them, man.
Would you accept it?
I think definitely, man. I was like, here's a nice little place in Tuscany. Here's the keys. Nah, but I bought it. Nah, I don't want it. Yeah, right.
But let's talk about your new album, Sunny Side Up, it's called. And Sunny Side Up, this is also a term which comes out of the kitchen because it's the way you can order a fried egg.
I don't like my eggs sunny side up.
No?
Nah, I don't. Ironically. I used to, but I don't like them anymore.
So the title of the album wasn't inspired by scenery in the restaurant?
No, it was more for me, I don't know. For me, the only time I ever have my eggs sunny side up is when I've woke up and I'm too hungover or tired to ask for them the other way.
And then you get them sunny side up.
So I equate that with many a thing, I think for me, the reason I called it that is because I felt like that's how the record was served. I felt like it was, for me it was, the album, if nothing else, is just an expression of a period in my life where I felt comfort, where I felt comfortable in my own skin, and I wasn't, I'm not looking for the grass is green on the other side, and my situation, the way people were, my relationships with people were good, were strong, they are. So I wanted to portray that. I feel like Sunny Side Up did, because I feel like, it has its dips and it has its moments where I'm maybe reflecting a little bit more, and I'm maybe kind of asking myself some questions about really who I am, but thankfully, or or else I'm like drawing on people's experiences about, and like maybe they're in a bit of a strange situation, and I've decided to kind of draw on that for the song. know, thankfully they all have a respite. You know, they all have a light at the end of the tunnel. And so when I was listening, when I was thinking about how to really, you know, put a title on it, it just seemed like a good one. And essentially, I had the idea of phoning people out. I was like, Sunnyside Up, what do you think? Record team. And they were all like, yeah, man, had a little laugh. And I was like, okay, that's it. Right, we'll keep it like that. Right? Okay. And then the artwork, you know, that came together, and I'm quite happy with it, man. Actually, looking at it, I'm quite chuffed, man. It's cool. I like the little dancing ants.
Who did the pictures on the inside of the
let me see this
envelope?
Here, man. Look at me.
There was like children's drawings on the first page.
Oh yeah. So it
was like a cousin or something, or
no. So the end. So basically, we go into. I finish off the record with a man called Ethan Johns, who you'll know. And we mixed the record at his house, and he has a daughter. He has 2 daughters now. He had 1 daughter when I was there, and then I was there for the kind of the day where I wasn't at the birth, but I was there at the day it happened. And then I got like, and that changed. That made me think in a certain way, you know. And his little girl Delilah would always kind of wander into the studio, and after a few days, you know, I'd wake up to have breakfast when I stayed with him. And, you know, she'd be at the dinner table always drawing, you know, 4 years old, she's always drawing pictures. She's like, right, come and draw a picture with me, we'll draw a picture. And, you know, and like then it was like, you know, kids at that age, the imagination, man, the actual, you know, she's like, right, come on, got to play, you know, castles and witches and all this stuff. So I'm like, sort of, okay. And that's how I'd wake up in my day, man. I'd find myself in here, jumping around couches, going pow pow and all these things, you know, fighting dragons when that weren't there, you know. And it's an interesting way to start your day, you know, because it's inspiring, because it's like, God, if this 4-year-old girl is so creative, then what's stopping me from being, you know?
She was an inspiration for you?
But the whole, you know, Ethan and, you know, his aura, you know, that's a really kind of pretentious word, I think, aura, but it does, it's the only word I could find to really describe it. And the sort of, the good vibes that him and his family showed me and showed anybody else that passed through, any other musicians that I was playing with. You know, it inspired. You know,
great.
Oh, I mean, it summed up kind of what I was talking about, man. You know.
Good. Talking about what you said before, that there were moments you were thinking about yourself, who you were, where you're going. Was this ever an issue that you're a 4th generation Italian living in Scotland? Do you sometimes feel like the 2 souls in your chest, the Italian soul and the Scottish soul, or is it just like this as it is? I think that there's a lot of similarities. You know, I think they're both passionate and outspoken, for good or for better or worse. You know, I think that. You know, I think that you know, a lot of sometimes the feelings that you have overtake your kind of common sense, and sometimes you speak before you think, and you know, you look at Berlusconi to see that. You just talk before you think, you know. But the Scottish are not really like that.
I think the people I know, you know, the people I know, will never hide how they feel.
Like Braveheart.
Oh, for fuck's sake, Braveheart, yeah. But that's what we're all running about, going, fucking freedom. And I don't think so. All the people I know in Scotland, they don't look like Braveheart, man. They're all little guys like me, walking around going, yeah, I'd love to see all of us in the war. Come on! Yeah.
But did you like the movie? Did you like the movie at all?
That was good, man. I liked it when the age when I watched it. I loved it. You know, obviously.
Then you went out to play
before I actually realised that Mel Gibson was Australian. I thought it was great, you know, and I was like, "Why, he's Australian? Of course he is. Mad Max. What am I thinking?" You know, yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. Yeah, man. You know, I'd love to have seen Braveheart in the Thunderdome with Tina Turner swinging about with hammers and shit. That would have been good. See how we would have fared in the Thunderdome.
Braveheart 2 with Tina Turner.
Yeah, Braveheart 2, Thunderdome 2.
Well, maybe you can talk to Mel Ask him what he thinks.
So many
about it.
years. Yeah. I know you've gone through a messy divorce, but you consider making Braveheart 2 the Thunderdome? Yes.
Maybe this will give him a good new thing to think about and forget about his troubles he has.
Exactly, man. Let's do it. Let's call.
Okay, let's call him after. Just a few last questions. You'll be in Switzerland soon again. Do you know exactly when you'll be here, when we'll be performing in Switzerland, and where? I'm sure our audience is looking forward to that information.
I know for certain right now that we've got a show at the Moon and Stars Festival. I got that right?
Yep.
And I also know that we've got a show. Yeah, we were supposed to go to, I think we were asked to go to Montreux, but I didn't go because I think just so people don't get fed up, you know, like, oh, he's here again, fuck. Is he here again? You know, I mean, it's like I just want to, I'd like people to get familiar with these songs, and hopefully then next year if we can still, you know, to the wall, you know, I think, you know, we can go and perform them then, you know, and take a little rest from there. But we're going to be doing another show. Where is it? Yeah, man.
Well, anyway.
Well, maybe it's changed. I seen a show in the diary, man. I thought it was in like Lausanne or something. I thought it was in Lausanne, but maybe I'm wrong.
There will be the information available on the warnermusic.com or .ch website, I'm sure, or on your webpage probably also. Do you have a schedule of all your concerts on your website?
Should have. I'll be honest with you, man. I'm not too up on the website. I'm not very good with those things.
But it's probably not you yourself doing it, but you have guys doing that for you.
Apparently
You
so.
should ask them to do that.
Exactly. No, what I want to do is I want to incorporate this thing, man, into the website. You know, so you go on there, you kind of step into the cafe, click on the wee bird and a wee option to something, click on the wee ants and a wee option to do
But
something.
there you go. You're the creative director, and you need just the guys doing it. You have the ideas.
Yeah, but once you start, then they keep on phoning. So what do you want to do now? And I'm like, oh.
And you want to do music.
I don't know. I had one idea. I never knew I had to follow up with loads of little ideas. I'm in too deep. Help me out. I'm in too deep.
All right. It was a pleasure talking to you, having you here at Bluewin Video Talk. Maybe just as the last word, you can direct yourself to the audience of Bluewin Talk and give them your message and tell them why they should come to see you.
Hello, audience. How you doing? I'm Paolo Nutini, and you know, I just want to say I hope to see you at the shows. I hope to see you at the Moon and Stars Fest, and I hope you I hope you enjoy listening to the record, man. Thank you for the time, and you know, take it easy. Much love. Bye.
Thanks a lot, Paolo. It was great having you. A lot of success with your tour. Ons Album von Paolo Nutini, Sunny Side Up, ist in den Läden ab dem 1. Juni erhältlich. Das ist es schon wieder gewesen vom heutigen Bluewin Talk. Vielen Dank fürs Zuschauen, gute Zeit und ganz einfach Sunny Side Up.